Om Shanti. It's wonderful to see how Baba's work is expanding, not just in terms of spiritual service, but also in helping people in terms of whatever it is they need. And I think the work that's been done by the hospital, in the hospital, is beautiful, but the outreach programs and, of course, all the programs that you saw in terms of serving out there wherever there's a need, it's really, really much appreciated by people. But also it makes me aware that Baba's preparing us to be able to serve on whatever level is necessary, wherever there's a need. And the power of concentration is something that's connected not just with the subject of yoga, but it's connected with whatever work it is I'm engaged in, whether it's service in the community or whether it's my Lokik work. I remember there was a brother who came to Baba, and this was at the end of the 70s, and he had failed a particular very important examination twice, and he'd become a bit disheartened and then turned his attention to other things. And it was after that that he came to Baba, and after about 2 years with Baba, he decided he'd try for that exam again, and he understood absolutely why he hadn't been able to pass the previous 2 times. And it won't take you very long to guess. It was lack of concentration. And here he was now 2 years down the road with meditation, and within that short space of time, I won't say he had very, very powerful yoga, but certainly he had developed a certain level of concentration that was able to help him in his Lokik work, in his studies. And no surprise when he passed his exam and he was able to then begin the profession that he had really been interested in. So very practical applications of this, and not just in terms of children, but in terms of adults also, who feels that their concentration power changed and improved when they came to Baba, but in terms of the world out there, who has seen that people's concentration span has actually been decreasing? I think it's a universal problem. I remember some years ago hearing from somebody who worked in television that the level of concentration span that they'd been able to research and then use that statistic in terms of how they made TV programs. When television first started, it was assumed that people would have that span of concentration for at least 20 seconds, and they could keep a film, an image on the screen for that amount of time. And a few years ago, this person working in television said that MTV had sent out a circular to all its producers that no image should stay on the screen for more than 1 second, because people's concentration span had decreased to that level. Real. And so yes, out there in the world there is no capacity for concentration, and we see many different repercussions of this. And you come to Baba, and yes, there's something that really captures your imagination. And even for all of you sitting here, you've been sitting here since 5 o'clock, and you're going to carry on sitting here till how long? It's going to be a couple more hours, I think. No, not a couple, maybe a bit less than that, but it's going to be a long stretch. Ready for that? Yes? I'm hearing a sound from the first row, but from no one else. Yes? Good. Because, of course, the cream on the cake is going to be Dadi and meditation conducted by Dadi. And so it's worth keeping your energy and focusing your concentration capacity. But people used to say it was 45 minutes, that's the max. You can't expect people to keep their concentration for more than that. And all of us, most of us, have sat here, and Baba comes at about 7:30, and 10:30, 11, 12 sometimes, and we're still seated, the majority, glued to our seats. And somebody tells you, come on, let's go. And you say, no way, that's not what I've come for. I've come to be here in this atmosphere. And so we see that everyone's capacity for concentration and focus is really just developed instantly. They come simply because our attention, our interest and our focus is now Baba and Baba's knowledge and all the things that Baba is sharing. And when there isn't that interest, this is why Baba says in the Murli, if somebody is yawning or is looking here and there during the Murli, then Baba will say they're a little bit of a buddhu. And if they're yawning, it's not because of lack of oxygen. Baba will say there's something wrong in here, that it's because their attention has been distracted. And when I first used to hear Baba say this, then I used to say, okay, well, let me see how it works. And then I began to see in a very practical way that it's because of distraction, or gradually a lessening of interest because there's a distraction that's come in. And so that reduction of interest, then, yes, you're not taking as much from Baba, you're not as focused, you're not as concentrated, and so you're not able to keep yourself focused with that interest, which is why Baba says, remember who is speaking the Murli. Whoever the Murli reader may be, and now it could be somebody who's been just a year in Gyan in some places. In Madhuban we have the fortune of the Dadis with 72 years experience in Gyan. But in some centers, very new centers, it's very young sisters or young brothers reading Murli. But they're not the ones who are actually giving you the content of the Murli. It's still very much Baba who's there reminding you who is speaking to you. So from the very first sentence, Baba grabs our attention and focuses it. And so talking about just attention and concentration in that general way, I want to come to the subject of specifically yoga. I know you already had a class on yoga this morning, but I see that that's good preparation for developing the power of concentration. And I want you to remember a story that most people here in this hall have heard, but it describes exactly what is needed if you want to achieve that state of perfect union with God, in which really the soul settles everything and becomes free and is able to reach the higher state. It's a story about Arjuna, and Arjuna with his companions, and the Guru who was teaching them archery. And it's a story in the scriptures, so it's got meaning and significance, but nobody's teaching you archery here, or maybe we are. But the story goes that Arjuna was with his companions, and the Guru who was teaching them called them up one by one to describe what it was they were seeing. And this particular person who came up to try, the Guru asked him, what do you see? And this person said, well, what I'm seeing is the bird, and I'm seeing the sky, I'm seeing the trees. And the Guru says, fail, finish. And he hadn't even done anything yet. He just described what he was seeing, which was what the Guru said. But fail. Next one, and it's a little bit of a similar story, fail. And the next one, and then Arjuna comes. And Arjuna says, what I'm seeing is the eye of the bird, and within the eye, the pupil of the bird. And the Guru says, you'll pass. And so think about a laser beam, and I'm sure either you know of somebody or you've experienced it yourself. The wonderful procedures that I know about that happen in medicine now all happen with laser surgery. And so the focusing of a beam of light, and it's quite incredible how the power that's generated when there's focus, and the amazing things that scientists have been able to reveal, what works just simply through being able to concentrate. And the story of Arjuna. If I want to have yoga with God, while I'm distracted by 1,000 different things, I can see the sky, I can see the trees, I can see everything else that's moving around. Well, I'm not going to be able to have yoga. But if my focus is I, the soul, and God, the point of light, this is why I say that the things that Sister Chakradhari told you about this morning are perfect in terms of preparation. And so, when you see only Shiv Baba, and when Baba says, just say Mera Baba, my Baba, and nothing else is mine, it's to not just create an awareness. Our actions, our life is very much connected with the subject of yoga, and I'll come to that in just a minute. But specifically, only Baba is mine. And within that, yes, I remember the conversation that a group had with Sakar Baba in the little room, which is, it had just been built, Pandav Bhavan, and most of you know Pandav Bhavan, and just about Nirvai Bhai's office and Shashi Ben's office, that block had just been built at that point. And Baba was going up there, up the stairs, and Baba had called together some of the main brothers and sisters and the daddies from Bharat, and I just happened to be there in Madhuban, not even properly in Gyan at that point, but just happened to be there. And Baba saw me sitting on that little wall that many of us still sit on in Pandav Bhavan in the courtyard, and called me across and held my hand, and that was pleasant, Baba holding my hand and walking. And then I realized Baba was headed to the seminar room, the place where they were meeting together, and I had no business to be there, but Baba insisted and pulled me along, literally. Baba's 6 feet tall, and now I'm 5 foot. At that point I must have been 4'10", whatever it was, but Baba's pulling me along, and so I'm running behind Baba. Baba had big strides, and so I had little legs, so you had to run. So running along Baba, and Baba enters the room, and it's the daddies on one side and the senior brothers on the other side, and I was going to leave Baba and head back down, but Baba still pulls me inside, and Baba goes and sits right at the front. And those days nobody needed chairs to sit on, so they were all seated on the floor, and Baba on the floor also in semi-lotus posture. Baba was most comfortable in that position, really. It's not just the position for yoga for Baba, but it was a natural sitting position for Baba at all times. For a few minutes sitting on a chair to eat a meal, and the meal was a very brief one, simple one, but the rest of the time I just saw Baba seated on this, in this posture. And so everybody else on the floor also around, and Baba's asking them, what did you discuss? And they share with Baba the information of whatever has gone on in the meeting for the past hour or so. And then they identify a few questions that have been coming to them. And Didi Manmohini asks Baba a question, and then Dadi Prakashmani asks Baba another question. And remember, this is 1967, something like that, so many, many years ago. But the question that Daddy Prakash Muni asks at that point was, I've kept my chart, Baba, and I've been trying to see what is the seed stage that you've been talking about, and how many minutes I'm actually able to stay in that seed stage. And with a lot of humility and gentleness and love, she reads a chart in front of the whole gathering. And Amritvela, yes, I was there and I was alert, but seed stage, maybe it would have been 12 minutes, and then she goes through the whole day like this. And sometimes it's 2-3 minutes in meditation, sometimes during the Murli it's a few minutes. Yes, I was focused, I was enjoying the Murli, but it was only for a couple of minutes that I experienced the seed stage. And at the end of it, Baba looks at her with a lot of love, and then Baba says to her, "But child, you've been honest. This is what Baba would expect." Baba was already talking in the Murlis about 8 hours yoga, but yet Baba knew that that seed stage of total concentration and focus would have been about that. But as I say, that was a long time ago. And after that, that is tapasya and her effort, and of course she has become karmatit before all of us. But my point that Baba knew that within 45 minutes yoga, now this is somebody who was a powerful yogi and surrendered, within 45 minutes of yoga, yes, there would be a conversation with Baba, there would be the churning of Gyan, there would be a variety of things that would be happening within the meditation, so that it wasn't just blankness or empty space, but it was full, it was rich. But that stage of perfect concentration would be maybe just a few minutes. And if today, what I'm finding is that within my time in meditation, I'm spending time in talking to Baba, that's important. If I'm spending time thinking about aspects of Baba's Murli, that's also important. Why? Because that has been Baba speaking to me. Baba's Murli is Baba speaking to me. And to reflect on Baba's Murli is to think about Baba's supreme versions. And that's absolutely right, to be reflecting on that in yoga. Which is why the other day Baba said that when you spin the discus of self-realization, that is also yoga. Daddy Gulzar arrived yesterday, and you haven't seen her yet, most of you, but she'll be meeting you all tomorrow, I hope. But we had a chance just to very quickly meet with her, and somebody asked her a question. It was a small group just welcoming her, and the question was, but Baba usually says that your sins are absolved through yoga, and then Baba's saying that your sins are also absolved through spinning the discus. And Sveshpan took it up a little bit this morning, but Daddy's answer was that yes, both are valid, in the sense that if I'm sitting in yoga, and rather than have my mind go here and there and wherever, it's good that I should spin the discus of realization. It's good that I should have aspects of Gyan working in my mind. Baba knows the vagaries of the human mind and how quickly the mind can go from here to there within a moment. But not just that, the mind can work on many, many different channels all at the same time. And so to keep the mind engaged is a way to be able then to bring all the energy together, and then, yes, once my energies have been focused and there's no other distractions, then I focus just on these two things: the soul, who am I, and two, who is God. and I'm making that connection of both together. So yes, in the discourse, think about Gyan, but it's a method to be able then to draw the soul into the awareness of the spiritual realm, in that realm of truth, and then the mind can very easily become quiet and calm. And through that, then yes, the mind can be silent and the soul can be totally focused and concentrate on God. So all the other things that you've been told about to do in yoga, it's absolutely valid. It's not that this is one or this is the other or maybe this or maybe this. It's all of it. All of it can be part of yoga. But the power of concentration. Use all of that to let the mind become quiet. In this atmosphere where we've been hearing about Gyan, thinking about Gyan, let's try a little experiment. I'm going to say a few words, just sharing with you my own thoughts. The lights are going to be the same. You don't need to have music or anything else. But try focusing and coming to the awareness of who am I? The mind is away from all the distractions of the world out there. I'm here in Madhuban. And in Madhuban, I'm here in Baba's home. I'm here in the place where the ocean of knowledge has shared so many treasures with us for so many years, for so many hours. And the essence of all those treasures is that I have to know myself. The consciousness of the body slips away very easily, very naturally, and I come to the truth, the reality of who I am. I am this being of light. I, the soul, a shining star. I, the soul, the child of God. I, the soul, the deity soul. I, the soul, a point of light filled with purity, with peace, with love, with truth, with joy. This is who I am. I, the soul, in my original, eternal state, shine, radiating these qualities which belong to me. I focus on I, the eternal being. And in this awareness of I, my vision focuses on God, the Supreme, the Almighty, Baba. Baba, who is my world. Baba, my everything. Baba, the father of the world, the mother of the world, but especially my father and my mother. Coming to Baba, Baba's light, Baba's love, Baba's might surrounds me. I and Baba in union, connected together, an eternal bond that Baba remembered and I had forgotten, and now appreciating all that Baba gives me and how Baba raises me, uplifts me, cleanses me, purifies me, and finally, with the power of Baba's love, Baba makes me like himself, so that the child becomes a reflection of the Creator, the image of the Supreme, reflecting the qualities of the Supreme. I hold this focus and continue to enjoy the supreme bliss of God's love. Holding this awareness of my parent and my eternal identity, holding that relationship clearly in my awareness, I come back to the physical dimension, aware of Diamond Hall, aware of my unlimited family seated here with me, aware of my surroundings here. Om Shanti. I wasn't expecting that the lights would change or the music would come on, but it did. But I wanted us to have an experiment in which even for a few minutes you were able to experience the power of concentration. Focusing here and forgetting about this and focusing on Baba. And you can see that Gyan is a beautiful method through which you can prepare yourself to be able to come to this awareness. And Madhuban, of course, provides a ready-made atmosphere, but even when you're out there, with the power of Gyan, wherever you are, you create that right atmosphere in your home, in your office, at every center. When people step into Global House, so many of them tell us that it seems to be we've come to a place of peace. And out in the street, it wasn't like that. But as soon as we stepped inside here, we felt we'd entered a very different space. And so the power of Gyan and Baba's remembrance, of course, but Gyan leads us to that stage of concentration and focus. I want to identify 3 specific things that can help us develop our concentration power. 1, to keep myself aware of the truth through the day. Whatever else it is I'm doing, the more I stay focused on what it is Baba has told me, and Baba has talked about absolutely every single situation that I'm likely to come across or I do come across in my life. And so whatever it is I'm doing, Baba's given me some srimat for it. Whatever time of day or afternoon or evening it is, again, there's been a special instruction from Baba about that. And all of that is in the Murlis, whether it's the Sakar Murlis or the Avyakt Murlis. Put the 2 together and really you've got a very detailed outline of what it is Baba's wanting you to keep in your awareness through every single action, through every part of the day. So, to keep the truth in my awareness means to keep Baba's srimat, to keep Baba's perspective on the Lokik world with me. Then it's not the Lokik vision that I have, but it's Baba's vision of what it is that's going on. The second thing, simplify. The more complicated my life is, the more difficult it is for me to be in yoga and to be able to develop the power of concentration. And it's not just a question of, okay, I'm going to sit down and meditate and now I'm going to have yoga. But we speak about a yogi way of life. And so your life and your yoga are absolutely intricately together. And to be God's child, isn't that you're God's child for just when you're visiting the center or when you're having meditation, but it's something to be aware of through the whole day. And if you see how it is your life can be simplified, I don't need to tell you what you must do or how you must do it, but you can see in what ways you yourself can simplify things to make life much, much easier for you. It's not a reduction of activity. If you want to see a spinning top, you just have to see Dadi's schedule. And sometimes she calls us spinning around here and there and wherever, but Dadi's life really is, on the external level of timetable, a constant spin, even today. But yet, within all of that, the top is only able to spin if the point is absolutely centered and grounded. And that's what's true of Dadi. She's absolutely centered, but yet is absolutely grounded. Sometimes people are surprised at how grounded she is and the practicalities that she's aware of. So it's not necessarily a reduction in your activity, but the quality of your activity. What is it that you're engaged in? And whilst you're engaged in whatever it is you're doing, is your vision still focused on your real aim? So I want you to think about that bird and the eye of the bird, but not just the eye of the bird, the pupil of the eye of the bird. And yes, that metaphor applies to yoga, just that point of light, the incorporeal. But I think it also applies to what it is I'm doing during my day. Whatever it is my life is about in terms of responsibilities and the work that I have, but to what extent is the aim of my life very, very clear for me through the day? And if I keep remembering that aim through the day, my eye, my third eye, focused on the eye of the target, the goal, my aim, and then if I keep that vision focused there, then yes, I'm going to be able to get my work done, and probably I'm going to be able to get my work done more speedily, more efficiently, much better than I could have otherwise, because otherwise my attention would have been distracted here and there. Sometimes they tell us that the figures vary to a certain percentage, but the basic idea is that here's somebody who goes to work, and they're going to be there from 9 o'clock in the morning through to maybe 5 o'clock in the evening with a short break in between. But out of that time, how much of that time are they actually focused and concentrated on their work? In a general way, some people would say that it's maybe just 40% of the time. Certainly it's not 100% of the time. But for most people, not for Brahmins, because Brahmins have a deeper sense of integrity, and so they want to be able to do the work that they have to do with a lot of honesty. And so it's not 40% for Brahmins, but for people out there, most times it's just 40% concentration in terms of the work they do. And Brahmins, whatever work they have on their desk, they're able to accomplish it in a much, much shorter space of time, with probably better results. And that's simply because they're focused, they've learned to concentrate. But within that, yes, Baba would say, when you have to focus on your work, do it. Baba's not going to say, are you thinking about this morning's Murali? Focus on your work, get it done. And then yes, when you have a moment in which that work is done, then the mind goes other places. And in this case now, where's the mind going to go to? The one you love, the one you're most deeply connected with, the one with whom you want to have a very, very deep and strong relationship. And so when I say simplify, I mean just see, what is it that's extra in my life? And really I'm thinking about not just your work and what it is you can come down to, what it is that's the most essential, but also think about your home, your cupboard, your desk. And I'm reminding myself also as I speak to you, simplifying, remove. Think about Baba's room in Pandav Bhavan. The image has come to you. What do you see when you go there today? Now it's very big, but think about just that space and when there's nobody there. Today there's a translight which wasn't there before, and what was there instead was a little table that matched the height of that gaddi, because during the day Baba would spend his time on the gaddi, and there was a little low table with just one item on it, and then there was a little table by the wall, and it was large enough a proper table, and it was large enough to accommodate 2 chairs, one for Baba and one for Didi, and they would have their meal together there. And that's it. Nothing extra, nothing spare. Baba would see what was going on, Baba would listen to what was going on, people would bring things and they would then go away. Dadi's room, nothing spare. If there's extra things, she'll call us and say, what's this doing here? What's this doing here? Remove it, remove it, remove it. And she'll get it all removed. And so just clearing space in here, for the reflection of that, clearing space around me. And I know that you have homes, you have families and many other things, and yeah, sure. But simplify, and you'll see what it is you need to do. But it'll help you create space in here. And that's very, very important. So use Gyan, the power of truth, through the whole day to guide you. Simplify. And the third thing, practice. You knew I was coming to that, didn't you? When I was talking to you about Dadi Kumarka, Dadi Prakashmani and her chart, talking to Baba, Baba was very loving that she had been so honest in front of everybody with Baba. And Baba just said to her, child, carry on, continue to practice. And as you continue to practice, it'll develop. And so from 10 minutes of seed stage yoga, that yoga of perfect concentration, yes, when that slips, then think about God's qualities, think about Baba's Gyan, but again, bring the mind back to that focus. And so the more I focus, the more I create the space to be able to practice, the more I'm going to be able to develop that concentration capacity. And I think we give up too easily. We expect too much of ourselves. And when we're not getting the results that we want very quickly, it's a world in which we want instant things. And maybe I've been on the path for quite a while even, but yet I haven't given yoga my concentration and my focus. Just that subject. All 4 subjects are important, absolutely. One of the things that Dadi Gulzar said yesterday again was one of the qualifications of the 8 jewels is they'll be accurate in all 4 subjects. And so yes, that attention, but maybe my attention has been more on service. And so now, to switch the focus of attention and make it my attention on yoga, my focus on yoga. And when I do this in my life, then it's not that service is going to suffer. It's going to be even more beautiful, less effort and more results. We've heard Baba talk about this, but it's time to experiment with this and use it. And so making that my focus, then I'll find that there are moments that I can get through the day. I'll be able to use those moments, and practicing in those few moments. This is why Baba created a system of traffic control. And Didi asked me once, Didi Manmoini, after 5:30 traffic control, now it's every hour. In those days it was just the few times a day. And 5:30 traffic control, I'd been with her, and she said to me, were you listening to the words of the song, or were you focused on Baba? And I won't tell you what she'd seen, but obviously she'd seen that I wasn't so focused. And so this is what she was drawing my attention to. Yes, the music is there, that's going to help you, but it's a signal to really, within those few minutes, to come to that focus and concentration. And if you've practiced this through the day in this way, it's a great preparation to actually be able to come to that stage where, yes, I sit and I've been with Baba the truth, I've been in that space where I've kept Baba as a priority, and then very quickly I'll be able to spend time with Baba, just I and Baba. So let's have a few minutes with a commentary, and then afterwards the meditation will continue and Daddy will be here to join us. Om Shanti. Aware of who I am, I move very quickly into that connection with Baba. The awareness of the body left behind, and I, the soul, the child of God, now with God. And in this meeting of love, from the ocean, the love flows out, and Baba's love is so powerful that it makes me forget everything else. Baba has been waiting for me. I'd forgotten Baba, but Baba had been searching for me, waiting for me, and now I'm here in front of Baba again. The journey of thousands of years has come to its conclusion. It's time for the river to meet the ocean. It's the moment that I had had tapasya for, through all my search and bhakti. The moment of coming to my mother and father again. The love of the ocean surrounds me. And I, the soul, merge within this ocean. I and Baba together, one. I stay in this ocean of love, and allow this love to carry me to perfection.